Good evening, Chicago. It's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time for Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio. I am your host, Adam Karnick. A lot to get through tonight. Some breaking news coming across just a couple hours ago. The Blackhawks have reached a settlement with Kyle Beach and his legal team stemming back from his lawsuit from the sexual assault allegations back in 2010. We will be discussing that at length. Also, the Bears, well, they did what we figured they would do against the Packers. They lost. But hey, the first two quarters were entertaining, right? That's something. And now, with 4 games left, who knows? The opponents aren't nearly as tough as they were the last few weeks. Maybe they'll sneak out a win or two before the end of the season. And then finally, COVID has reared its ugly head all over the sports landscape. We've got games being canceled. We've got teams that are shut down. We've got all kinds of stuff. Is it time to rethink what's going on in sports? We will talk about all that and more. This is Chi-Town Weekly. Buckle on up. Here we go. Hello and good evening to you again. I am Adam Karnick, your host here for Chi-Town Weekly, back for another hour of talking all things Chicago sports here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Glad to be here. Glad that you guys are here with me tonight. Got a lot to go through tonight, so let's get right down to business. First up, our sponsors for the week, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film, to try out for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players second chances since 2017. Whether you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. Follow them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, Instagram at Southern California _Warriors, or searching Facebook for Southern California Warriors. Background Check International. Businesses. Are you looking to background check a new hire on? Let Kit Fremen take care of that for you. Kit founded and has managed Background Check International since 1994, and he's here to help you with the screening process. Contact Kit and let him help make the hiring process that much easier. This business is used for professional background checks and not for the use of any crimes, such as identity theft or any other illegal activity. Go to their website, bcint.com. Search them on Facebook, Background Check International-BCI. And then IE Sports Radio. For the last 7.5 years, we have been bringing you amazing content, ranging from interviewing legendary athletes to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. All the while, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans. And with your help, we are ready to take the next step. When you go to our website, iesportsradio.com, you'll see our Patreon link with 5 different tiers. The first one starting at just $5 a month. This donation gets you shout-outs on all 27 of our shows, with 28 and possibly even 29 on the way. Higher tiers include IE Sports Radio merchandise, access to our podcasting university, and even a chance to be featured on a segment of our flagship show, The Defining Moment. Thank you all very much for continuing to make IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports. And you can find us on all the social media platforms at IE Sports Radio. And again, that website is iesportsradio.com. So I wanted to start things off tonight with the Blackhawks. Now, they are playing tonight. The game is still going on. In fact, they are hosting the Washington Capitals. Alexander Ovechkin has already further cemented his legacy. He scored his 247th power play goal earlier tonight that started the scoring in the second period that ties him for most all-time in NHL history. But with 15 minutes and 39 seconds left to go in the game, the Hawks are up 3-2 over the Capitals. The Hawks scored 3 goals in a little over 30 seconds tonight. The goal scorers were, I'm pulling it up right now as we talk. There we go. I'm not as big a fan of ESPN's layout for this as I am NHL's. The Blackhawks, Entwistle, Kurashev, and DeBrincat all scored for the Blackhawks. Excuse me, that was it. DeBrincat, Kurashev, and Entwistle. Ovechkin scored first for the Capitals, and then Sprong scored at the tail end of the second period. All 5 goals occurring in the second period. So the Hawks are up 3-2 with 15 minutes and change left in the game. Oh, I see Terrence in the chat. He's at a Christmas party, but he's tuning in for a little bit. Terrence, good evening. Enjoy your party. It's okay. I appreciate you coming in and saying hi, but it's all right. Check out your Christmas party, unless it's really boring, in which case I guess you could turn my show on and we can try to interact a little that way, but it's all right. Thank you. If you are listening live, by the way, go on and you can hop in the chat room and interact with us that way on Spreaker. Just make yourself an account and hop on in. It's fine. It's fun. We have a little bit of fun that way. So the Blackhawks are up, but that is not the news of the day regarding the Chicago Blackhawks. The news of the day was just a couple of hours ago, right before tip-off, in fact. Puck drop, not tip-off. Wrong team in the United Center. Right before puck drop tonight, opening face-off against the Blackhawks, the Blackhawks announced that they have reached a settlement with Kyle Beach and his legal team. Of course, Kyle Beach was the young man who was sexually assaulted by a former Blackhawks coach and then subsequently left the team as a result of that, and he has since taken legal action against the Blackhawks, both for his own sake but also then on the sake of another young man who was also allegedly assaulted by this coach after the fact, after leaving the Blackhawks. But there was a settlement reached tonight. The Blackhawks the Wirtz family had instructed their lawyers back in October 26th, to reach a settlement with Kyle Beach after the result of the Jenner investigation into the team, into the 2010 incident. But it still took all the way till December 15th for anything to finally happen. They did release a statement. I want to read that here in full from the team. And this is from both the Wirtz family and also from Kyle Beach's lawyer, Susan Loggins. The parties are pleased to announce that today's mediation resulted in a confidential settlement between the Blackhawks and Kyle Beach. The Blackhawks hope that this resolution will bring some measure of peace and closure for Mr. Beach. As for the Blackhawks organization, we remain steadfast in our commitment to ensure that going forward, this team will be a beacon for professionalism, respect, and integrity in our community. We remain grateful for the trust and support of the Blackhawks community, and we promise to continue working every day to earn and maintain that trust. It was a purely financial settlement from what I've been able to see and read. Terms were confidential. I've been scanning through some of the different hockey people. Ben Pope, who's been on the show before from the Chicago Sun-Times. Emily Kaplan from ESPN is somebody else I've been keeping an eye on, as well as TSN. So just some different sources trying to see. I am sure that at some point we will learn the dollar amount that they settled on, but as for right now, that has not been made public, what dollar amount they settled at. I'll be honest, I'm a little conflicted still. I'm very excited that they reached a settlement, that they were able to come to some kind of an agreement. The Wirtz family, I believe the Wirtz family, I've said this before, both on this show and also on Neutral Zone, which I host with my friend Zach on Tuesday nights, same time. I believe the Wirtz family when they say they were unaware of what happened. John McDonough, I've read the Jenner report. If you haven't, have a good, strong, stiff drink nearby, but read it. It's harrowing and terrifying that this could be allowed to happen. But I believe the Wirtz is when they say they had no idea that this was going on. John McDonough shielded the Wirtz family, seemingly shielded the Wirtz family from this by covering his own butt. He made sure that everything stopped with him. I believe them when they say that they didn't know. And also the Wirtz's actions have backed that up too. They instructed their lawyers reach a settlement. Now it took too long. It took almost 2 full months from then. Let's see. October 26th was 7 weeks ago. You know, you're talking very nearly 2 complete full months ago that they instructed their lawyers to settle this out of court before they finally reached a settlement. Obviously, it takes 2 to tango, but the instructions from the Wirtz family seem to be whatever he's asking for, give it to him. He deserves it. It's the least we can do. The team has also gone through Stan Bowman, gone. John McDonough, gone. Al McIverson, gone. A lot of the key central players that were still with the Blackhawks from then have been removed. Other key people like Coach Quenneville, even though he's no longer with the Blackhawks, he was down in Florida coaching. He's gone. I think yet I'm still I'm still not all the way back. And I was talking with a couple of my friends of mine who are Blackhawks fan. One who, I mean, he might, before this, I think he might have said that the Blackhawks were his number one team in the city. The Bears would have been second. Now, that's probably at the very least reversed, if not. Yeah, I mean, he was willing to completely disown the Blackhawks. I think for the three of us that we were talking, we're not all the way there yet. We're still, there's still an empty feeling in the gut. There's still that gnawing there. I think for me personally, where it stems from is you still have Patrick Kane and, more importantly, Jonathan Toews still on the team. They're the last two vestiges, if you will, from that era, and they're still there. And they both had such terrible public statements shortly after the Jenner report came out and was made public, and all this came to light. Kane, to his credit, apologized and seemingly walked it back a little bit in the time after. But Jonathan Toews really hasn't. Jonathan Toews still, at the time, I didn't look up his exact words before the show, but he still wanted to defend Bowman, the person. Like that was the important thing out of all this, was that Stan Bowman's reputation got damaged by all this. And he so missed the point, and seemingly is still missing the point out of all this. So I think for me personally, that's still why there's that hole in my gut, that feeling of I'm still not quite all of the way back with the team yet. I'm a lot closer. This today puts me a lot closer. I am interested in learning the settlement details once that gets out there. And let's face it, it will get out there eventually. It'll be interesting to see from which side it comes to, which side ultimately leaks it out there. Will it be somebody from Kyle Beach's side or somebody from within the Blackhawks organization that leaks it? But it'll be interesting to see the terms of the settlement. Beach's side had a number at one point, a very specific number. He was a first-round draft pick in 2009. His side looked at essentially what first-round picks from 2009 made and said, give us that number. Here's the average of what a 2009 first-round pick has made over the course of his career. That's the number we will want. So we'll see how close they are. Unfortunately, I don't have the number right in front of me. I wasn't able to see that when I got in tonight, unfortunately. But they had a number in mind. It'll be interesting to see how close to that number they came. But I can't tell anybody as a fan how they should react to this news. But I know for me, I was excited when that came across my feed earlier tonight. And I'm not all the way there, but this was a big step in the right direction for the team. All right, from a team that might be going in the right direction to a team that is seemingly spiraling further and further and further out of control. We need to take a break, but when we come back, we need to talk about the Bears. This is Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back after this.
It's IE Sports Radio. It is your direct feed for all that is sports. It is Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris every Tuesday night right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris is the most comprehensive view on Philadelphia sports exclusively right here on IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Tuesday night, IE Sports Radio, Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris.
Hey, what's up, BS3 sports fans? If you love listening to the BS3 Sports Show, check out the weekend wrap-up every Monday at 12:15 Central Time, 1:15 Eastern, recapping the weekend in sports like you never heard it before. Comedy, interactive chat room, it's a must-listen. Weekend wrap-up on Spreaker.com. Part of the X Squad. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Were you listening to a great game on USRN, but then the Wi-Fi crashed in the final seconds? Or do you simply want to listen to the best calls we here at USRN have to offer? Well then, you need to go check out our Audio Boom page. It holds a collection of our best calls that you don't want to miss. How do I get there, you ask? You can download the Audio Boom app and look up Ultimate Sports Radio, or simply go to audiobook.com/Ultimate Sports Radio. And as always, thanks for listening and making USRN one of the most talked about sports networks on Mixler.com.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, everybody? This is Darren Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunder Spikes? Then I have the show for you. Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The Blackhawks, real quick update on their game. The Capitals just scored to tie the game at 3 with 8 minutes left to go in regulation. So, and actually they're down to 5 minutes left in regulation now, still tied at 3. So the Blackhawks and the Capitals battling it out right now. For the Blackhawks, that's a great getting to overtime. And actually, the Blackhawks just scored. Alex DeBrincat put one in, so the Hawks are back in the league. Back in the lead, 4-3 over the Capitals. So Chelsea Dagger playing at the United Center. 4-3 with just under 5 minutes to go in regulation. Hawks and Capitals. Keep you updated on that the rest of the night. We'll see how that finishes up and wraps up. So that Bears game over the weekend. I can't say that anything in the second half surprised me. Once the Bears fell behind, you felt like the game was over, that they were not going to be able to come back from any kind of a deficit. And so when the Packers took the lead on the first drive of the second half, okay, that's it. We can go. It's done. And sure enough, they were outscored 24-3 in the second half. Aaron Rodgers made mincemeat of the Bears' defense, especially the Bears' secondary. We found out later that Matt Nagy didn't realize that the Packers had made adjustments and were attacking the defense differently. I got to stop right there for just a second. I was going to go talk about the first half, but I can't. How do you be a head coach in your 4th season and you don't realize that the other team has made an adjustment? I've talked before about how Nagy is too stubborn to make adjustments in his game plan, that the Bears only win when their initial game plan works throughout the whole game. And sometimes that works against teams, but more often than not, teams will make the adjustment works, and then you have to counter. And Nagy never counters. He just keeps doing the same thing over and over. Well, apparently that might be in part because he just doesn't recognize when the other team has adjusted. A perfect example. Early in the third quarter, Jalen Johnson played a terrific game overall, lining up man-to-man against Davante Adams. The stat line ultimately went Adams' way, but Johnson played a great game, especially a great first half. But early in the third quarter, there was a play that the Packers ran where the entire motion of the play was going to the left side of the offense's left side of the field. And that pulled the defense naturally to that side of the field because the Bears were in a zone. So the zone naturally moved. But they had Davante Adams come behind the line of scrimmage and go against the grain to the right side of the field. And Rodgers hit him, and there was plenty of space then for Adams to work with because he had cleared the field. He had cleared most of the defense. Jalen Johnson was shadowing Davante Adams and wasn't able to work his way through the defense as quickly as Adams was able to work his way behind the line of scrimmage. So it led to a big play. The Packers didn't do anything like that in the first half. That play, I'm sitting at home, I'm sitting on my couch, and I see that, and it was, oh, the Packers adjusted. Look at that. We weren't seeing that in the first half. That's a neat idea, good idea. The Bears have been playing man-to-man against Davante Adams. Here's a way to get him open. You see that in basketball all the time. You're playing man-to-man. You have the offensive player run because he knows where he's going. The defender doesn't. So naturally, the defender moves slower. You can get open. Nagy didn't recognize that as an adjustment. I don't get how. That was a change. That was an adjustment. That was something the Packers weren't doing in the first half that they did do in the second. They changed it up. They adjusted. Nagy doesn't get that. Nagy's going to be gone in 4 weeks. It'll be fine. I had to get that off my chest. The first half was fun, though, wasn't it? All kinds of craziness going on in that second quarter, especially. You had Jakeem Grant just explode. He had 2 touchdowns in the quarter. He had more touchdowns than Allen Robinson has had all season in that one quarter. You had Justin Fields throw 2 touchdown passes. He also threw a pick 6. So if you want to call it 3 touchdown passes for Justin Fields in the quarter, go for it. There was some fun in that second quarter. They went into the half with the lead. I had no misconceptions that they were going to hold that lead. But I also liked that right before the half, the Packers scored. And it was 23-21. 24-21. And there was under 2 minutes to go in the game. And I put on Twitter, the Bears need to go for this here. Need to try and score. You have nothing to lose. Nagy in the past has been far too willing to, hey, we've got the lead at the half. There's only a minute or so left. Let's just take a knee. Let's get into the half. Let's play it safe. And it was, this 3-point lead you have isn't going to hold. You need to go for more. If for no other reason, let's see how well Fields can run the 2-minute offense. And by golly, they went for it, and Fields got him into field goal range. That was awesome to see. It was excellent to see. Sure, of course, you'd love a touchdown, but all things considered, he did what he was supposed to do. He got them into scoring range, and Santos converted it. It was a 40-plus yard field goal. They go into the half. It's 27-21. Bears are up. I'll take it. I didn't expect they were to be up at any point in the game. Never mind the entire first half. So I was very pleasantly surprised. Then the second half started and wasn't shocked at all, and that was that. I didn't even have the energy to get upset when they dropped behind because it felt so inevitable. Well, yeah, they're not going to be able to play 4 quarters against the Packers. Eventually, the Packers are going to take the lead, and when they do, it'll be over. And sure enough, first drive, they took the lead. It was over. So now what? Tevin Jenkins got in. Ultimately, I know Jenkins finished with a rough stat line. He had a false start. He had a holding. He gave up a sack that led to a fumble by Fields, and the Packers immediately turned that into points. 3 huge red marks against Jenkins in the game. But there were things from Tevin Jenkins that I saw that I liked very much in the game. Yes, there were the glaring errors, and those can't happen. But overall, I was very pleasantly surprised with what I saw from Tevin Jenkins. He wasn't supposed to play at all. Jason Peters goes down, Jenkins comes in. I would leave Jenkins in there now for the rest of the season. That's not fair to Jason Peters, I know. And there might still be a role for Jason Peters in this offense. We'll get to that a little bit in the next segment. Suffice to say that Jenkins might be playing right tackle on Sunday and not left tackle. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the final segment. But at this point, you're 4-9. You're guaranteed your first losing season under Nagy. You're not making the playoffs. I don't care what the computers say or what the playoff odds are. I know they still have a chip in a chair, but they're done. They're not making the playoffs. They are not a playoff caliber team. They've only beaten 3 teams this season: Cincinnati, Las Vegas, and Detroit twice. They're not making the playoffs. They might win a couple of these Final Four. They got Minnesota twice, Seattle, which is reeling, and the Giants, who are bad. So I could see them winning 1, 2, or heck, even 3 of these Final Four games, but they're not making the playoffs. Still, it'll be fun to see what Fields can do, Jenkins, Herbert, etc. What can they make out of this final month of the season? I don't think there's any way it's enough to save Nagy's job. He's got to be gone after this. There's no way you can save him. But you're into the developmental part of the season. You're into the let's see what we've got for the future part of this season. Another guy that I wouldn't have any problems with them sitting for the rest of the season is Allen Robinson. He's checked out. He's done. You saw that on Sunday. There was a run by Fields, I believe it was in the second quarter, where Robinson, he's just running a go route, just straight down the sideline. His defender sees that Fields has taken off and running. Robinson did nothing to stop him from getting past him to go and tackle Fields. Fields got out of bounds. It ended up okay. But you could tell Robinson he's checked out. He had a couple other plays where you could just tell Robinson's checked out. He's done. Whether it's injury, whether he's fed up with the coaching staff, fed up with the team, whatever the reason. I don't begrudge him. I don't blame him. The Bears have given him the ring around now for 3 years. He's finally just done. He's reached his breaking point. Okay. Get him on the sidelines so that nobody else gets hurt. Let's see if you've got something in anybody else on this roster. Because Robinson, he's clearly not in the future for the franchise. So let's move on from that. I mentioned a minute ago that Tevin Jenkins might be playing right tackle this Sunday. No, that does not mean that I thought Larry Borum's been doing a bad job. Larry Borum is one of many, many players across the league that is currently in the COVID protocols. We have to talk about this. COVID has made an outbreak, not just in the NFL, not just in Chicago, but in seemingly every sport across North America. We got to talk about that next. This is Chi-Town Weekly on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Back after one more break.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Davidson.
It's your boy, Dentarius Lava.
And we are the hosts of Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, where we discuss everything in the world of basketball from prep to the pros.
You guys should definitely check us out, man. Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We got all the basketball information you guys need, so we look forward to you guys listening in.
And please do, because we are the best basketball show on this side of the Mississippi. And please do check us out on Twitter at FastBreakISR. D-Lock, where's our time again?
8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. That give you guys plenty of time on a Sunday.
Tune in.
What is going on, everybody? My name is Harrison Glazer, and we're coming at you from the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. I cover the Jets, the Islanders, the Nets, and the Yankees.
This is Pierre Moss, and I cover the Mets, Knicks, Rangers, and the Giants.
Our show is live every Wednesday through Spreaker and a bunch of other ways to get our content. Again, we're the Show That Never Sleeps podcast. We talk about all those New York sports. It's a lot of fun. We get into all of it. Please tune in. Again, that's Wednesdays at 6 p.m.
And we look forward to having you guys right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Scoreboard Show with your host Gabriel Montoya. This is the show for soccer, football fans, or whatever you call the beautiful game. Every week I tackle the latest and greatest news from around the soccer world, from the English Premier League to the World Cup to MLS, Liga MX, and more. You can listen to the Soccer Scoreboard Show and our lineup of fantastic guests every Friday at noon here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. shores of the Puget Sound to the rushing waters of the Columbia River, stretching across the Great Cascades, and on IE Sports Radio lives the Northwest Territory Sports Show, hosted by me, Brad Buckingham. On this show, I cover all the great collegiate and professional sport teams that we have here in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Mariners, Sounders, and even the Seattle Kraken. But I can't forget all of that is good in Oregon either. I got the Trailblazers, the Oregon Ducks, the Beavers, even the Timbers, and much, much more. You can listen to the show every Sunday from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern, noon to 1 p.m. Pacific on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back into Chi-Town Weekly for one more segment here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. The Blackhawks just went final. It went to overtime. The Capitals scored with 3 seconds left in regulation to tie the game at 4. And then Caleb Jones hit the winner in overtime, the assist from Kirby Dach. So the Blackhawks get the extra point tonight against the Washington Capitals. They improve to 11-15-2 on the season. So Blackhawks win, Hawks win, Hawks win. So I mentioned in the last segment how Tevin Jenkins might be playing at right tackle this week for the Bears because Larry Borum is out with COVID. Borum is one of 5 players from the Bears who is currently on the COVID list, and the Bears are not the only team in town that's been affected. The Blackhawks were supposed to play a game on Monday night. That got postponed due to COVID, a breakout with the Calgary Flames. The Bulls haven't played all week, and they will not play again. They're not scheduled to play again until Sunday because they have 10 players currently in the NBA's health protocols right now. That is, for reference sake, an NBA team usually only keeps about 14 players on the active roster. So that's 2/3 of the team right there to have 10 guys out. And the NFL has nearly 100 players in their COVID protocols. Almost 2 full rosters worth of players out with COVID. This is getting crazy. It doesn't matter if it's hockey. You're seeing it. The Calgary Flames have an outbreak. They've got over 16 people on their team. Or if you're in basketball, the Bulls, the Lakers have been hit. In the NFL, the Browns, 1/3 of the Browns' entire team, plus 2 of their coaches, are currently out with COVID. The NFL has not postponed any games yet. Andrew Hagenbaugh, who hosts the state of Ohio on Fridays, he and I, in the group chat, we were talking earlier. He was lamenting that the NFL has confirmed that the Browns will play on Sunday, even though 1/3 of their team will not be available to play, including they don't have a single tight end on the roster at the moment. I brought up how last year the Broncos were forced to play a game without a quarterback due to COVID. I don't expect that the NFL will actually postpone games. I mean, when you figure that as I mentioned last year, the Broncos played when they didn't have a quarterback. The Browns are down 14, 15 guys right now. They're still going to play. On Saturday, no less, on a short week, they're going to have to try and replace a third of the roster, excuse me. And you've got all these other teams, all these other players out. Again, almost 2 full rosters worth of players that are out. I don't know what the number would have to be. I don't know if it would have to be, does Tom Brady have to get it before the league would consider postponing games? Is it they have to get to 200 players, 500 players? I don't know. The NBA acted too slowly to postpone the Bulls. The NBA's argument was, well, you still haven't technically enough players to play. The minimum number for playing in the NBA is 8. And at the time when the Bulls got shut down, they had 9 available players on the roster. But with so many guys down, and important guys, they convinced the league to shut them down. I don't know what the NFL would have to do, but I hope they're getting close. I don't want anybody to get it. This is getting crazy. This is feeling more like March of last year again, like we're headed towards a shutdown. And I as I was preparing to talk about this, I was reminded of last year. I brought up very quickly, it was one of my very first shows, I threw out an idea at the last second for a proposed playoff for the NFL in case they did have to shut down. And I guess may as well bring it up now again because there's 4 weeks left in the season, but now we're seeing all these cases. Again, I don't think the NFL will shut down. The NFL has shown time and time again, it will just put its head down and push to get to this end of the season. They came up with an announcement earlier today that for postseason teams, you can promote guys and demote them back and forth between the practice squad as often as you want in the postseason. Normally, you can only do it twice. They're saying, nope, you can bring them up as often as you want from here out because they're recognizing, guys are going down, so we need to find another guy to fill the hole on the roster. But if they were to shut down, if they were to say, you know what, we need to stop this, we need to take a 2-week hiatus, let this burn through. They're clearly... Players are infecting each other, coaches are infecting each other, etc., etc. We need to get everybody away from each other, get them quarantined. The NHL tonight actually just announced that it is enacting its protocols from last season. Things like guys are getting tested every day. If you're on the road, you have to stay in your hotel. You can't go out to a restaurant to eat. You have to wear a mask in the building. And the NHL is a league, literally... Every player except for one across the entire NHL is fully vaccinated, and they're still implementing these policies. So the NFL, they're going to have to do something. But let's say it gets to a point where they have to pump the brakes. They take a 2-week hiatus, let it burn through. Well, I would argue if they do that, you'd want to take a week to kind of reset and restart everything before just jumping right back into games. Well, at that point, you're down to effectively 1 week of regular season left. Rather than try to make up those games and then screwing up the calendar, expand the playoffs. It's actually not that hard to do. They've played enough games that you have an idea of teams. I know everything's crazy looking at the standings. You've got 1 million teams. You know, the difference between being in the AFC being the 5 seed and the 10 or 11 seed is a game, but there's a way to make it work fairly easily, that you can do a 24-team playoff. You stay in your divisions. The current division leaders at the time of the pause, they're the 1 seed in the division. They earn a bye to the second week. The second and third place teams of the division, they play each other. Second place team being the home team. 3-2. The winners, they go on and take the number 1 team from the division. Winner wins the division. You then have your division winners play each other. You could do it based on record. You could do it based on sheer geography. However you want to set that up. But have your 4 division winners pair up and play each other. Winners play in the conference championships. Winners of that play in the Super Bowl. Takes 5 weeks, 6 if you want to include a bye week between the Super Bowl and the conference championship. Sorry, if you want to include a week off there. Looking at the calendar right now, let's just say they did that. You would line up pretty much. Let's see, we're on December 15th. The regular season is set to finish on January 2nd. That would line up basically with what the playoffs are right now. So you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you didn't take that week off between the conference championships and the Super Bowl, you'd wind up with the same date for the Super Bowl anyway. I realized when I put this together that does mean the Bears would technically make the playoffs. I'm sorry for that. Yes, I'm a Bears fan, but no, I really don't want the Bears in the playoffs again. But it's a fun scenario. Again, I do not think that will happen. I think the NFL will push through to the end here. But COVID is making things interesting all across the sports landscape as we get closer to the end of 2021. All right. That will do it for our show this evening. Want to say thank you again to our sponsors, the Southern California Warriors and Background Check International. Thank you for continuing to support not only this show, but all the shows across IE Sports Radio. And please check out our website, check out our Patreon at Bay Area Raised, at MMostGreat. Thank you for continuing to support us on Patreon. We really do appreciate it. Please check it out. There's great stuff that you get. We're not just simply taking your money. This is something you get back in return for supporting us on Patreon. We really do appreciate it. Thank you to Larry for everything that he does and continues to do at the station, keeping everything going. Thank you to Tarrant and for Marcus hopping in to the chat room. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Had some fun tonight. Finally, thank you for continuing to listen, whether it's live on Wednesday nights or as a podcast whenever I fit into your weekly schedule. Thank you for allowing me in and making time for me. I really do appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time talking sports, and I hope you learn something. I learn something every week. Lots to do, lots of good stuff going on. Blackhawks win tonight. A note from our friend Tyler Snipes. You might remember that he was helped us preview the Chicago Fire. Member of the Chicago Fire, Gaga Slonina, 17-year-old keeper, was trying out for the men's national team this past weekend. He was joking because we have both said, boy, we hope he never makes it into a game for the Fire. Well, he finished with 11 starts, so had some fun there with that. Until next week, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. We will see you on the other side. Have a good night.